G'day coaches, another Rugby Reflections. My time coaching rugby for the last 2 decades, I have a lot of things that I've done and I want to pay that information forward. I think one of the things about being a coach is we often don't think about paying it forward to the next generation unless it's someone who's coaching under us. And one of my goals with this, I go to a lot of different coaching courses and stuff, is to give a few pieces of tangible information that you can put into your sessions as quickly as possible. And one of it is sort of defining these different roles that can happen for coaches at training. What do I mean by that? This is more within a single activity. So over the course of a session, you might have 3, 4, 5, 7, however many activities. But this is one when you're coaching and maybe it's a team run, maybe it's a activity where the majority of your squad is there and you have more than one coach. And I think having different roles here can help make it a better practice session. And so my goal with this is having different coaching roles, helping coaches create better learning environments. There are 2 ways I think we can create better learning environments. One, we can be more efficient with our time because different coaches taking on different roles allow us to make the impact that we're looking for. And that's one efficiency that we gain from this. The second efficiency that we gain from this is actually in our debriefs and our planning for the next time. If we have different people looking at the same activities from different perspectives, pulling the information together, creating these strong feedback loops for coaches, what we do then is allow us to start thinking about the trends that are happening in the team, and we can start building out what we want to see, what we want to do, what experiences we've created together that we want to leverage, ditch, or keep, right? And this is my way of sort of thinking about it. So when we're in an activity where the whole group is training together, we have all the coaches there, I think one of the most inefficient things is when every coach has to have their point and say different things. And what ends up happening is you end up talking and talking and talking. You do a little bit of action. One coach stops us for this, one coach stops us for that. Or you come back for a big feedback session and every coach has to say everything. And if you have 4 or 5 coaches and 3 or 4 players, all of a sudden you're standing around for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. And I think those are the things that I would like to help you start to think about. If you choose to continue doing them, that's your decision. That's you as a coach. That's the art of coaching. However, if you want to sort of refine your coaching a little bit or maybe play with your coaching a little bit, this is a way you can do it. And so here we go. The first coach that I like to think about is the lead coach. This is the coach that runs the activity. They're the big voice. They're the ones who's going to be doing most of the speaking. The other thing that I like to think about is they are responsible for the outcome. At the end of this, players will be able to recycle the ball in less than 3 seconds in general play. That would be the example of an outcome. It would be up to them to introduce and explain the activity that you're doing. If there is a demo, right, they would lead the demo. Sometimes you don't have a demo because you've done the activity before. And then a really big part is they manage the interventions. What sort of interventions am I talking about? The big timeouts where you gather the team together, where you have input on things, or the interventions where we need to get a water break, or we need to move the space that we're working in, whatever that happens to be. They manage those things and they keep the time. Additionally, because they introduce the activity, they're also going to do the debrief and the takeaways. So they're really responsible for making the big calls about, are we hitting the outcomes? How do we get to those outcomes? And they have to manage the activity. That's the lead coach. That's the big voice. The next one is sort of, I've named them the primary assistant. I didn't put coach in here, and that's because this could be the head coach that becomes a primary assistant. They're a little voice. They are responsible for organizing the environment. They manage the opposition. They manage the speed. Within rugby, sometimes we're working on our defense, but we need a good attack. So this primary assistant, they would be responsible for organizing the attack and making sure it functions properly and going at an appropriate speed. Why do I have speed in there? I think sometimes we start an activity a little slower and we want to build into it. This primary assistant is looking, are we starting to master it? Are we starting to get towards our outcomes? And then they really ramp up and By doing this, we take a little bit of pressure off the lead coach and we have other people manage it. They focus on the logistics and the running of things, and then they give feedback to the lead coach. This comes from a different perspective. We don't want them standing right next to the lead coach. We want them standing in another place. Maybe the lead coach comes around, talks to them. Maybe they go talk to the lead coach, but they're a second set of eyes and they're looking at the activity from a completely different perspective. They then focus any feedback that they give to the players just on the key factors and on the outcome, right? And this helps us create consistency about what the players are hearing from the coaches. And the coaches can have a different conversation. The coaches can be like, actually, our key factors were wrong. But if we're going to change the key factors, we want the lead coach to be the one doing it in one of the big interventions. We don't want an assistant coach doing it to some of the players on the fly. So we want them to focus on what's written down, those key factors that lead on to our outcomes. And then the last one is a floating assistant. This is a person who coaches on the fly. They really need to focus on one of the key factors or one of the functional roles that are being addressed. They are giving immediate feedback. So after each rep, they'll be like, good job, nice work, fix this, whatever it happens to be. It's on the fly, it's not a stop. It's as the player runs past and we keep the flow of everything going. If they start to see trends, they need to go over and see the lead coach and make sure that they're giving feedback to the lead coach. The lead coach can then take in that information. They start to think about, is this a trend that I need to address, or is this a trend that gets put down in our reflection that we work on in the future? And so between the three of them, we have the lead coach, we have the primary assistant, and we have the floating assistant. And I think all three of them together allow you to coach better. It allows you to create better learning environments. So if you are a coach that has the benefit of assistant coaches, give people different roles within each activity. One's the lead coach, one's the primary assistant, the others become floating assistants, and just task them with things to look at. By doing this, you hone the focus of the coaches to look at different things, and you empower them to give the feedback on those different things in different ways. It declutters the feedback. It helps the players know the types of things they're getting from different people, and it helps speed up your practice. By speeding up your practice, I believe there's less talking, there's more time for doing reps. The more time you have doing reps, the better the learning. So that's what I think. As always, you may have a different take. I'm happy to hear it. Leave it in the comments. Subscribe for more of this content and look out for what's coming next. Talk to you soon.